It's a beautiful Wednesday morning in the city of Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. My name is Damlola Ogunshakim. We begin with the front pages of the dailies this morning, starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Tinubu reassures not of development as ACF chair, ex-SGF kick. My government will leave no region behind in development, that's according to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Northern governors reaffirm support for president, call for deepening the citizens' engagement. Boko Haram bandit attacks are declined under Tinubu, that's according to Ribadu. Not marginalized under Tinubu, ACF chair says. Kwankwaso is right, not is marginalized, as coming from Babache Lawa. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, a major story, Owaneze Mandef MBF speak. On page 8, quality of local government elections still low, says INEC. SIEX expressed misgivings over Supreme Court judgment on Rivers Council polls. On sport, page 32, our target is to win World Cup. That's coming from Ajibadi. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, IMF upgrades Nigeria's economic growth forecast to 3.4%. That can be seen on page 32. Now, the Punch major story this morning says a power rotation debate eat up as North reviews Tinubu's scorecard. Tinubu must complete 8 years, says Afenifere Middle Belt Forum. Opposition tackles APC zoning stand. You can see that story on page 2. Olubadan Olakunleye for burial August 8. Page 30 has that story. Lastly, on the Punch newspaper, 210 trillion naira audit. Senate demands NNPC's response in 3 weeks. Page 32 has that to the Guardian. The Guardian leading story is that discourse over bill 2 million customers struggle with metering and efficiency. You can see that story on page 6. Northern leaders criticize Tinubu's record as governor, others rally in defense. Nigerians have spent 1.3 trillion naira on PMS in June as Dangote marketers deepen competition. Current security architecture can't contain insecurity, Alia says. Federal government cautions as Ghanaians allege ritual killings, prostitution against Nigerians. Lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, NDLEA auctions drug traffickers' properties in Lagos, Kano, Ondo, Ogun. News page 2 as the story. And lastly, the nation's leading story says Yuwada Akume Yahaya Sani rally not for Tinubu. ACF NEF seek more federal support for infrastructure development. Respond to Attorney General's queries on 210 trillion naira cash. Senate tells NNPCL, we didn't say money missing or stolen. You can see that on the front page. It continues on page 5. Federal government gives automatic employment to 200 outstanding youth corps members. You can see that on page 4. And directly above the banner, we have Transcorp Group raked in 379.7 billion naira in first half of 2025. 4.06 billion naira for shareholders. And lastly, on the Nation newspaper, on the top left corner, we have a patient discharged as nurses join doctor strike in Lagos. You can see that on page 5. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies. Join us after the break for a brief analysis of some of the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today to Do Some Vanguard Life. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said his administration will ensure equitable development of all regions of the country with no area left behind. He gave the assurance yesterday in Kaduna at a 2-day interactive session on government citizens engagement organized by the Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation. He said the minister's interaction with stakeholders at the event will unveil empirical facts and figures that the North was not neglected. Tinubu, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation (SGF), Senator George Akume, highlighted key achievements under the Renewed Hope agenda, including interventions in economic reforms, education, health, security, infrastructure, and food security. The Northern Governor's National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu concurred with the president with the governors, reaffirming support for Tinubu, and Ribadu saying that Boko Haram and bandit attacks have declined under Tinubu's watch. On economic reforms, the president said his administration had implemented both reforms to stabilize and grow the economy, including unifying the exchange rate and restructuring debt profiles. Tinubu stressed that investments had been made in modernizing security equipment and upscaling personnel. Tinubu also highlighted the renewed hope agenda's priorities to include reforming the economy for sustained growth, strengthening national security, boosting agriculture for food security, unlocking energy and natural resources, and enhancing infrastructure and transportation. Others are focusing on education, health, and social investment, accelerating diversification through industrialization and innovation, as well as improving governance for effective service delivery. Reflecting on the theme of the event, assessing electoral promises and fostering government citizen engagement for national development, it said the renewed hope agenda as being a pragmatic vision built on pillars of good governance. They include transparency, accountability, participation, responsiveness, equity, rule of law, and inclusivity, going beyond just a campaign slogan. Speaking at the event, Governor Muhammadu Yahaya of Gombe State and chairman of the Northern States Governors Forum reaffirmed the region's commitment to the administration of President Tinubu, citing significant strides in infrastructure, security, and economic reforms. Governor Yahaya, who made the opening remarks, said the gathering was not about empty rhetoric, but an opportunity to critically examine the performance of the federal government, particularly in relation to promises made during the 2023 campaign. Also speaking, Ribadu has said that incidents of Boko Haram attacks, banditry, and communal violence in the northern region have significantly reduced under President Tinubu's administration compared to the previous government. Ribadu attributed the decline to Tinubu's directive for a unified approach to national security. He declares that ongoing military operations in the northwest have resulted in the rescue of 11,259 hostages as of May 2025, and that several notorious bandit leaders and their groups have been neutralized in Zamfara, Kaduna, and Katsina states. The NSA praised Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani for adopting a non-kinetic strategy to address unrest in southern Kaduna, Biningwari, and other flashpoints, describing the approach as commendable and impactful. However, Chairman of the ACF BOT, Alhaji Bashir, expressed deep concerns over what he describes as growing marginalization of northern Nigeria under the administration of President Tinubu. Speaking at the high-level interactive section between northern civil society groups and senior officials of the federal government in Kaduna, he cited critical areas of neglect, including insecurity, agriculture, transport, infrastructure, power supply, education, healthcare, and the abandonment of strategic projects like the Ajaokuta steel plant and Komani oil exploration. On insecurity, he decried the rising wave of terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping, urging the president to take strong, audacious, and sustained action, especially by addressing root causes like youth unemployment and poverty. Turning to federal infrastructure, he pointed out that out of 1.013 trillion allocated to roads in 2025, only 24 billion went to the northeast. Not a single strategic road has been completed or maintained in the north in the past 20 years, he said. And of course, there's more to that story, and you can get that inside our newspaper also on our website. Now, away from that, now some Ghanaians, they have protested against Nigerians for allegedly engaging in mass prostitution and ritual killings in the country. Now, in a viral video on Tuesday, the protesters in their large numbers were seen waving placards with various inscriptions such as armed robbery and violent attack must stop. Our health at stake due to our health at stake due to mass prostitution. Who protects the rights and freedom of Ghanaians? Nigerians are kidnapping and using people for rituals. Our kids our kids are getting missing because of evils, among others. They also displayed a picture of a man who was allegedly killed by a Nigerian in the Accra area of the country. Speaking in the video, a lady in her mid-30s said Nigeria must go because of their anyhowness in their country. Another protester said Nigerians have taken over their major markets and are perpetrating evil of sorts in their country. He said these Igbos, they are in every part of the country and have targeted their markets, not just the Igbos. He said Nigerians in almost every village, and in their laws have not allowed foreigners to engage in real dealings. He said, and I quote, they are perpetrating evil in our country. They even have Igbo king in Ghana. They have hijacked our land. It's just a matter of time. We will conquer them and take over our country, he stressed. Recall that a similar occurrence, popularly christened Ghana Must Go, happened in 1983 when the Nigerian government under President Shehu Shagari enacted a directive ordering about 2 million undocumented immigrants, many of whom were Ghanaians, to leave the country. The action gave birth to a checked bag called Ghana Must Go, into which the Ghanaians packed their belongings and in turn became a symbol of exclusion and intolerance. And that's all on that story. Now, let's end this on a lighter note with Mr. and Mrs. this morning. And the first person speaking today is Mrs. Mrs. says, if there's nothing between two of you, why did you call her my queen? And Mr. replied, dear, following the celebration of Super Falcons' extraordinary victory, it has become the consensus among Nigerian men that every Nigerian woman should be called my queen. Ah, Mr. Of course, Mrs. will be jealous. My queen, you don't just call anybody my queen. Well, this is Mr. and Mrs. And of course, I'm sure they will settle their matter between them. But this is where we have to draw the curtain today. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. Do want to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can also visit our website, www.vanguardngr.com. Have a lovely Wednesday.